mom is a fucking faggot. Problems, and she just doesn't go into detail about a lot of them. But then there's time, most of the time when she doesn't want to talk about problems, she just wants to have fun, and she's just so special.
And that's why I was hoping that you guys could be friends. I mean, she's a child on coke.
I know, and it bothers me because of the way that she acts. Sometimes it completely throws me off.
And that's because you don't know who you're dealing with, and you don't know how to deal with it. Like I said, you have a lot of this anger from things that you've had happen and that you've lived through, and that stuff, it hasn't been resolved at all.
Well, some of it's been resolved. I've gone to therapy for it before. Then probation took me out of therapy, and I got a new probation officer, and they thought they knew all this crap that was best for me. And my therapist didn't agree with them pulling me out of therapy, and I didn't agree with it either, because that was the one person that I trusted was my therapist.
Okay.
Out of everyone, and so now it's like, I trust Emma to talk to Emma about things.
Mm-hmm.
And so Emma's helped me through a lot of things, and because my therapist hasn't been there. And I wish I had my therapist back so I'd be able to talk to her, but nothing I can do about that.
Well, maybe that's something that can change in the near future. Maybe it's something that you can explore with your probation officer. And, maybe it's something that you guys can talk about and say, listen, I'm really having a hard time. I'm not where I'm supposed to be at this point in my life. Yeah, there's way too much going on in my head. All she wants
to do is get me through the sex offender treatment class. Because the last one I was in for 4.5 years. The reason I was in there for 4.5 years is because everybody in that group spent a lot of time talking about things that are happening in their life and things that have happened in their life. Mm-hmm. And that's why it took so long to go through all that. And I was completely all done in the book. So I was, as far as the sex offender treatment, I was done with that. It was just until the council signed me off, they wouldn't let me out of it. So this new probation officer pulled me out of that class and put me in with a new guy that didn't know a thing about me. And this new guy in his class, all he wants to do is just the book. And he wants to stick right to the book. He doesn't want people wandering off and talking about their personal life and all that stuff that's going on with him now. He just wants to stick right to the book, but everybody in that class has to do theirs too. So I'm not the only one in that class. So what's supposed to take a year to a year and a half takes a lot longer because there's other people in the class. But see, that's where having my therapist would have really continued to help me, because I go there and I trust her to talk to her about things that I don't talk to anybody else about.
So about the first class that you were in for 4.5 years, what is it that made them say that you needed to be in another class? I mean, you've already completed your book, and then they said you're not done yet. You have to go again. So what does that mean?
No, she didn't say. The counselor didn't say that.
Somebody did. The person who had to make that decision said that you needed to continue when everyone else goes on.
I got a new probation officer, and my new probation officer changed everything around that my old probation officer had me doing. I mean, she literally changed everything. She took me. She wanted my therapist to to let me go, to let me out of the contract of seeing her. They changed around the counselor for the sex offender treatment class that I was in.
Mm-hmm.
Took me out of that one, put me in a new one with a guy that I don't even know, that I never even knew. And to this day, I still don't trust him. So I just go in there and I stick to the book. He wants people to stick to the book, so I stick right to the book, and I've already completed the book, and they just won. I mean, I literally have to go through the whole thing all over again. So it won't be 4.5 years, but because it's just sticking right to the book.
How much longer is it going to take?
I'm hoping it'll only take another year and a half. So
okay, so it's going to be like a 2.5 year class now?
About a 2-year class. So I've only been there for about 6 months now.
Oh, wow. So it'll be like 6.5 years.
Yeah, total. I will have had to do the book over 2 times.
Does this book have pictures?
No.
Okay.
No, it's all, yeah, no, it's all assignments.
Okay.
Assignments of dealing with your past and all that. Mm-hmm. And that's where that first class that I was in helped me out so much, because the counselor would actually allow people to talk about, their past and what happened to them and things that they were going through now. Mm-hmm. And she showed more care than what this one here does. Mm-hmm. So I'm not real trusting of guys like I am women.
So what do you think you're learning out of this class?
Out of this class that I'm taking now,
even the one before,
than I learned in my first one. The one before, I was learning a lot about. I have a hard time saying no to people, and that's my biggest problem. So I have a hard time saying no, because I don't like saying no to people.
And why would you?
I'm a people pleaser. Is basically what it comes down to.
Okay, so if you go below that, I mean, because being a people pleaser, just like I was talking about drinking, is just a symptom. So if you go underneath what it means to be a people pleaser, what is that about?
Being a people pleaser?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I wound up being in the sting.
Well, what I'm saying is, what is the root emotion that comes along with being a people pleaser?
Basically from when I grew up, because I wanted to please my older brothers and sisters.
Right, but what is underneath that?
What do you mean, what's underneath it?
If I were to take a guess, I would have to say that it's insecurity. It's about not feeling good enough. And when...
Yeah, basically you're right.
That leads people to do things. It leads them to, no matter what the question is or the request, what's more important to them is that somebody likes them.
Yeah. I know what your question is, and I know what the answer to it is.
Okay.
But it's going to sound odd to you. Okay.
I can take odd. Do you remember who my sister is?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Okay. See, when I was in grade school, I was one of the most popular kids.
Okay.
And I had my best friend was a guy named Tony. Not the same Tony that I go see now. It's completely different Tony.
Okay.
And I played basketball. And I was good at basketball. I was the only one that in 6th grade that made the basketball team for the whole middle school, which was 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Okay.
And so it was me as a 6th grader, and then those 7th and 8th graders that was on the basketball team. And so I played in 6th grade, and I played in 7th grade, and I started half games in 7th grade. And then my 8th grade year, you still there?
Yeah.
Okay. my 8th grade year, I decided not to play basketball because I wanted to make my own money to buy my own clothes so that my mom wouldn't have to. Because she had spent her life being devoted to us kids and making sure us kids had everything that we needed. And, she'd go without things. And I just wanted to be able to buy my own stuff so she wouldn't have to buy it for me.
Right.
So she'd have more money to spend for herself. So the kids in the school didn't like that I didn't play basketball. So they basically shut me out.
Okay.
Because I didn't play basketball. So the rest of the time through school, I remained quiet and just kept through school and still had friends, but I didn't do anything with those friends at the school.
Mm-hmm.
I'd go home and do my own thing, and I'd have friends in the town that I lived in, and I'd do things with them, but I never did any after school activities with the kids at school, my friends at the school. So, that's always bothered me because it showed me how much those friends were really true friends when they shut me out just for not playing basketball.
Well, you have to consider their age too.
Yeah, I know, but it's still when you're young like that and that happens to you, it's completely different because when you tell somebody that you're going to be your friend, you actually be a friend to them. You basically don't say, I'm going to be your friend if you act the way I want you to act. And
right.
That's how I felt that they said that.
Right. Absolutely. During those years, we kind of start to formulate our position, with other people in relationships, and we start to understand them a little bit better as much as we can. And it's not going to be in the most mature way. So we're going to think, how am I going to fit in? I want to fit in. See,
that was a problem with me because when I didn't play basketball that 8th grade year and they shut me out, it's like I didn't want to fit in. I didn't want to have anything to do with them.
Okay, so now you were what, 12 or 13 at the time? How old are you? Okay, so you're about 13.
13 or 14.
Okay, and now you're almost 50 years old.
I'm almost 48.
Okay, you're almost 50 years old.
I'm almost 48.
Okay.
I don't want to say 50 yet.
Okay, all right, fine. You're almost 48, which is almost 50.
Oh, God.
The thing is,
still got to throw that in.
The thing is that it's been so many years and you haven't gotten out of that.
Well, that's kind of due to it happened to me again, all over again when I owned my septic business. My own family members used me pretty badly.
Okay, so you have a pattern of this.
Yeah, I was trying to please people, and I hate that.
Okay, so that came out of your insecurity of wanting to fit in. So you have the kids who rejected you with basketball. You had your family reject you. Actually, a way to avoid having rejection from your family, you gave in to what they were asking for.
Yeah.
And it was making you feel good. You were feeling good.
I was feeling good thinking that I was helping them.
If I were to make an assumption here, I would say it made you feel good that they were giving you attention.
Yeah.
That you were pleasing them and it was making them happy. And then that only goes on for so long. And so you're going to be searching for a lot of different situations that are going to give you the same feeling.
No, I don't want to search for those situations. And see, that was something about Winnie, though. She never asked anything from me.
She's not in a position to ask anything of you. People can ask all they want. I
know, but I like that she didn't ask anything from me. She just wanted to spend time with me.
What I would say is, something that I think is something you should think about, honestly, is that you need to stop being a fucking baby.
I know. I'm trying to not be a baby, But it's like I've spent so much time thinking about other people, and that it's like sometimes I just want the other people to leave me alone. If they can't show that they care about me too.
Your definition of them caring about you is giving you attention. And when they don't give you, and I'm just talking, you know, I don't know your family or your other friends, but thinking from my sister's perspective, the behavior that you were looking for was really unhealthy because you wanted her to be obsessed with you.
But no, I didn't want her to be obsessed with me. But I didn't want her to tease me. That's what got me. Because she would tease me about other guys.
And you said that it went on for months.
Yeah.
Okay. So what does that say about you?
She would do that. And I don't know. You got to tell me out on that one.
I think that you're desperate.
I don't think it's that I'm desperate. I think it's that I liked her. And
when was the last time you had a girlfriend?
About her. It's been a long time.
Okay.
With the exception of the whole Ramona thing, which was over the internet crap.
Okay, so again, we have
that
something
really
over the internet.
Messed up.
Okay. So there's another situation that you were in that's just like this in a way, with someone that you don't have with you. You're not able to build a relationship with them. You're doing it over the phone. So when was the last person that you dated, that you went on a date with, and that you were interested in getting to know? When was the last time that happened?
It was before I got incarcerated.
So that was several years ago, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so since then, it sounds like you're saying it's been a real shit show.
Yeah.
That you haven't had female companionship.
Yeah.
And you're kind of grasping for whatever you can get. And that's meaning people who are either reaching out to you, somebody like Winnie, as precious as she is, she's an asshole.
I know she can be, but she's just special.
I would agree with you on that. But she's also not this girlfriend material that you're trying to force her to be. I almost fell out of my chair when she said fiance. I mean,
as much as I hate to say it, I know you're right. She's not girlfriend material right now because she can't be anything to anybody right now until she's got a grasp on what she's going through.
Okay, but she may never have a grasp on that.
I know.
Okay.
It bothers me.
Well, it's sad for her, but at the same time, you know, she can have a happy life.
She doesn't deserve to have to be like that. She doesn't deserve to have these problems.
No, she doesn't.
I really hate that she has these problems. It really sucks to see her go through this crap.
It's very, very painful.
Yeah, I tell you, friggin' some of these last 3 or 4 months that I've known, or 2 or 3 months that I've known her as her, some of it's really spun my head. And I wondered, it wasn't until just maybe a month ago that she told me she has schizophrenia.
Mm-hmm.
And I paid attention to her, and it made sense to me because of the up and down way that she would act. And when I was incarcerated in jail, and the guy was actually in the same jail cell that I was in at, and he was also in one of the prisons that I was in. Mm-hmm. And he had schizophrenia, and he had a mild case of schizophrenia. And he said the way that he deals with it is he walks around and he'll touch his thumb onto every one of his fingers so that he can concentrate on that, and mm-hmm. instead of his schizophrenia, letting his schizophrenia make him do weird things.
Right.
So I guess people do weird, different things to deal with it. To see Winnie go up and down and different things, and it bothers me.
I know, I can hear in your voice that it hurts you.
She's so special. She doesn't deserve that. I know you probably think it's... Fuck. Sorry I'm crying, okay?
Okay.
I know you think it's probably all that I could care for her so much.
Yeah.
With an over the phone relationship.
Yeah, I do.
But she's just special. Especially recently, seeing her go through all this crap and that. Oh God, it's so fucking hard to see her go through that shit.
Well, to be perfectly honest, you weren't making it any better.
No, not when I got drunk. I knew that definitely wasn't making it any better.
So that's why I had to put a stop to it.
Well, as much as you think I might be mad about it, I'm not mad about it because I'm happy that you're there. I'm happy that you... I can't really say I'm happy that you cut her phone off because I've missed her a lot today. But I also understand, too.
I don't want you to just be saying all this.
No, I'm not just saying all this. It's hard for me to see what she's going through. I mean, when she's fine 1 minute, and then the next minute she's acting out and doing off the wall things. She's had me on the phone with her when she was in the shower, and she'd be stepping in her shit.
Oh yeah.
I'd be telling her, Winnie, don't do that. It's gross. It's not healthy. It's not sanitary. Don't touch her shit. And then she tells me that she shit in the shower. Don't shit in the shower. Shit in the toilet, and wash your ass after when you get in the shower. So hard for me to see her doing that stuff.
She never sent you a picture of her shitting, did she?
No, she sent a picture of somebody shitting a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't her.
And I have to ask, and don't take it the wrong way, but you didn't do that, did you?
No.
Okay.
No. That's the last thing I ever want to see is somebody see shit coming out of my ass.
Yeah, that would be disgusting. I would be absolutely fucking livid if I found that out.
That's rather nasty.
It is nasty.
Hang on a second, I can blow my nose, Jay.
Okay.
I have a headset on, so you're probably going to hear me.
Okay.
Sorry, that's gross.
So, let me ask you this. So the picture that I did see on her phone.
Of what?
Of somebody shitting.
No, that weren't me. Weren't me shitting.
Okay, because it had your number on it.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that you wouldn't do that.
No, it wasn't me.
Okay, that's good. Because not only is it disgusting to send a picture of you taking a shit, but I mean, you should have seen the toilet. Just everything about it made me sick. I almost threw up when I saw it.
No, that was a picture I got from somewhere else. Someone else had sent me a long time ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Who would send you that?
You'd be amazed at the pictures that I've gotten when people find out my numbers.
Okay.
That's why I change my number so often, because people from the internet wind up finding out my numbers and they send some fucked up shit.
Oh, okay.
So I changed my number I've had to change my number often. So please don't give my number out.
Oh no, I'm not going to give your number out.
Thank you.
I have no reason to do that. It's kind of weird that you had that picture, though. If it's something that somebody sent you a long time ago, that you would still have it.
Yeah, well, it was in my memory. Remember, I was able to pull it back up.
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of them that I've deleted and able to pull up. And, but anyway, there's people sending me some fucked up shit.
Yeah. Make sure you do like a hard delete on that picture. I had to do that with hers because I'm not going to have that on her phone.
Yeah, I think what I got to do is take it into Verizon so Verizon can tell me how to delete a lot of things. I'm not computer savvy.
Oh, okay.
So
I wonder what they're going to think when they see that. They're going to say, this guy has a picture of a dude taking a shit on his phone. That's weird.
Well, I'm not really going to show them that picture. I'll pick some picture that isn't quite so off the wall and have them show me how to delete it.
And nothing of my sister.
Something permanent. No, I don't have any. Even the picture that you and her sent me of you two naked, I deleted that off my phone. I deleted.
She sent you a naked picture of me?
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't.
You remember when you and me and her were on the phone that first time?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought you guys were just messing around.
No, you both told me that you had a picture of you both together,
That's not
together
me.
naked.
That wasn't me. It couldn't have been me.
But it didn't show your faces. It just showed your bodies.
Well, that should tell you. I would never allow that. I would never allow that.
Okay.
Sometimes I just go along with what she says because it's easier. When she's, trying to talk to somebody that's having delusions, you can't just tell them that what they're saying is wrong or it's not true or anything like that. I mean, sometimes there's no point in that. When you're dealing with somebody like Winnie, it's a lot easier just to say, okay, whatever you say.
Yeah. But she's definitely said and done some off-the-wall things.
Right.
It's hard to see her being up in the hospital.
You're only seeing a small snippet of it.
I know. I hate seeing her go through this stuff.
Just so that you're aware, I did request all of the phone records from the phone company, and I'll be getting them soon. If there's anything that you need to tell me.
About what?
About anything that you've said, maybe that is, I don't know, particularly abusive, any text messages, photos, stuff like that. She did send me the videos that you did. I was not impressed.
Well, of my videos?
Right.
No. That's bad judgment.
The fact that you would feed into how inappropriate she is sexually.
That's something that I always found. I found it odd that she was so sexual. That's the way I've always been with her. I didn't know anything about her schizophrenia. I'd send her a lot of nude pictures, yes. Not videos.
Why?
Just recently I sent her videos.
But why are you sending her those pictures?
Because she'd asked for them, but I never knew anything about her schizophrenia until recently. I never knew anything about her sickness until recently. I mean, all I knew was that she was going into rehab and that she had a drug problem.
Okay.
That was the only thing that I knew. I didn't know anything about all of this. So that's why it's all bothering me, because I never knew the truth about things. I didn't even know that her real name was Winifred.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's Winifred. Don't call her Winifred.
Winifred.
Okay.
Well, see, I still didn't even have that straight. That's why the whole thing bothers me, because I didn't know the truth about everything. And it's like she didn't even want to tell me that she had schizophrenia.
Of course. I mean,
I can
I'm still
understand it.
deciding whether or not I'm going to seek a permanent order. And that's why I had to have my attorneys, start requesting records and things like that.
Well, I'd rather you just leave me right out of it, because then I don't want to deal with my probation and having to answer questions to them. And I'd just rather step away so you can take care of her.
Well, if they're just text messages and stuff like that, I mean, I don't know what it says yet, but what would that have to do with your probation? I mean, this has to do with Winnie and how
I know.
and how she's feeling. So what would it have to do with your probation?
And I would just rather the whole thing be concentrated on her, and me just step away, and just every now and then, if you can just let me know how she's doing.
I'm a little confused, because if you haven't done anything against your probation, you don't have a problem, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because right now you're kind of telling me that you're not, you just want to back away and you're going to walk away, when before you were holding on so tightly. What would make you just change your mind like that?
Well, because I've thought about things, and one of the things that you've said about Winnie, things that Emma has said to me, but and also I wasn't supposed to send her naked pictures. I'm not supposed to receive them. I can't stop people from sending me things.
So that's what you're talking about, your probation.
And I had feelings for Winnie, and so I gave in to sending her pictures. But there's nothing I can do.
So you went against probation?
Yeah, I did.
Why would... Okay.
Because I wanted to make her happy.
You wanted to make her happy, so you were willing to just sacrifice yourself.
Yeah. It's pretty stupid. That's why I tried to avoid internet relationships after Ramona. And then when she came to me as Casey, I wanted to figure things out of what she really thought about staying and all that, because I thought it was Casey.
Oh. Well, what would she, if she's just the person that was there, what would she think about it? I mean, would you really want to know?
I don't know now. Now I don't know. Then I did want to know.
What did you think that she thought?
After all this, I don't know. I just reaching for anything and everything that I could find out about perverted justice and the things that they did, and whether she really thought that I was an actual predator. And it's very confusing to me, because I don't know what I was looking for an answer. But I wanted her to say, no, I didn't think you were a predator.
I don't think that would have happened.
No, probably not.
No.
Now that I look back on it, and I think more about things, I probably wouldn't have. And that bothers me a lot, because I know what I did was wrong, and that it's not something I've ever done before, never wanted to do either. When I left Maine, I went down to Nashville. It was really a quick thing, just so I could get away from family and friends and being used. So, like, rash decisions.
Okay, so you ran away and you went to Nashville, and then this happened.
Yeah. And I was in an adult chat room, and I felt bad. Nobody was talking to a 13-year-old, and I was so weak-minded at the time that I wound up being able to be turned around and start talking dirty to her. Shit that I've never done before, I did. Never had a hard time dealing with that.
Not talking to kids, you mean?
No, I've had a hard time dealing with what I did.
Okay.
Because it's not me to do that. I've always protected kids, and that's why I've had a hard time dealing with it.
Okay. Well, I know about the show.
I figured you probably did.
It made me incredibly sad. Not for you, but that it was even happening. That, what would have happened.
Yeah, I know. Think about that a lot.
And the one thing that I immediately thought of was, okay, so you're in this chat room, there's this girl, and nobody's talking to her, and you just figure you're going to. At some point, it turns sexual. And,
Yeah.
I guess we could, look at what turned you on about it. But another way of looking at it is, how did it not turn you off?
I don't know. 'Cause I remember I had times of saying to myself that I need to stop talking to her. And even when I went to this thing house, I wasn't going to go there because I was supposed to go out. It was my birthday, and I was going to go out to the bar, to the karaoke bar with a neighbor and with a friend. And I wound up going to this thing house. And then halfway to this thing house, it was a little over halfway. I was going to turn around, even on the median, and go back home because I didn't want to go there. But the median went downhill and back uphill, and I didn't know what was down there, and it was dark. And so I said, I'll just turn around the next exit and go home. And the next exit wound up being the exit of where this thing house was.
I think you're just telling yourself a story.
No, I actually remember the whole thing. So it started thunder and lightning in the distance, and Bud was my dog. Bud, he was home. He was scared of thunder and lightning, and that was another reason I was going to turn around and go back. So if you paint me a picture as a bad person, I'm not a bad person. I did a bad thing.
Well, I can see what you and my sister have in common.
What?
You both tell really good stories, and it's very dramatic.
You can call Emma right now, and you'll hear the same story.
I don't need to call her. I'm talking to you.
Okay, well, I've never changed my story.
It's not a matter of changing it. If somebody convinces themselves of something, then they can be consistent.
Well, no, I'm actually telling you about everything that happened that night. If you watch the video, you see me going by the house and then turn around in the next driveway and just going by the house again and turn around the rotary and stopping. It's all because I didn't really want to go there.
So then why did you? And be perfectly honest. Just spit out the answer. Don't say something rehearsed. Don't say something you've said in your class or however you've tried to explain it to people. Why did you go then?
I don't know.
You know the answer. You know the answer.
I don't know the answer all the way yet. I'm still trying to figure it out.
What is stopping you from not knowing the answer? What's the part of the answer then?
One part of the answer is because she was alone at the house and nobody was there, and she was 13. And the other part of the answer is that I didn't want to go there. And there's still so much to try to figure out about it that's why I'm mad about not having my therapist, because she was helping me figure this stuff out.
Do you know how many of the other people said, I just wanted to check up on her because she was alone?
No, I don't. I didn't pay attention to anyone else.
Okay, there were plenty.
I was trying to figure out things that I did and why I did and what made me.
And do you know why they say that?
Why?
Because they don't want to be the monster.
Well, it's a monster thing to do, period.
Yeah. The whole thing was.
Something I'll admit. Yeah,
okay.
It was.
Okay, so then stop with the whole, I was going there because she was alone and I wanted to be a good guy. That's not even part of the story, so just erase it.
The things about it, I'm still trying to figure out.
Well, there's things about it that you're not being honest about. So it's not a matter of figuring it out because you already know the answer. And the answer is very, very difficult because you don't want to admit that you're that guy, but you were that guy. And that's what I mean. A lot of the guys would make up these stories. Oh, she was alone. I was worried about her. I just wanted to be her friend. I'm not one of those guys. I know what this looks like, but it's not that. And this is one of the things that is disturbing when it comes to Winnie. She does the same thing. There's difficulty with truth because it's painful. It's painful to say, I had an attraction to this girl.
Yeah, but I still didn't know how I can get an attraction to her. I mean, there are like 5 different pictures of different girls. It wasn't even the same girl. And I saw it, but I didn't see it. And that's why I'm still trying to figure it out. And it doesn't make any sense to me why I didn't see it at the same time that I saw it. And what made me still go there.
Because the idea of her being real was more compelling. That was where the compulsion came in. The chance that there was this person that you were talking to, that you actually did talk to. You're like, well, I've seen different pictures. She doesn't look the same, whatever. But the idea was that she was this girl who was home alone, that you've talked to for a very long time. So she was somewhat real. And it just created this perfect opportunity that you could go there and you could do all of the things that you were talking about. And I didn't go through and read this whole chat log. But what I do know from what was mentioned on the show is that you're talking about marriage with her too. Talking about that you love her as if she's a woman and you treated her like a woman.
And I get lost in it.
Yeah, you got lost in it. And that's the thing that you have to be honest with yourself about, is that you were attracted to this 13-year-old.
Yeah, but what was I attracted to? Because I never saw a real picture of her.
You saw what you thought were some pictures. You talked to her over the phone. She sounded like a little kid.
I know.
And you were so happy to talk to her, like she was the cutest little thing. It started off, I'm going to sing you a song, and then it turned into talking about how she has to be careful and all of the ways that you're trying to hide yourself so that her parents don't find out.
I know.
And I know you mentioned about her not getting in trouble with her parents, but that wasn't the main concern. The main concern was you. You knew what the consequences were going to be if it ended up exactly how it turned out. So there was nothing in there. Go ahead.
That's why I don't understand why I did it, because I've never wanted to do anything like that before, and I've never wanted to be in trouble with the law before, and I've literally made sure that I've never done anything wrong right up to that point, with the exception of a DUI the year before. That was the first time I had ever spent a day in jail.
Okay, so there's another lack of judgment.
Sad thing about that one was I thought I was sober at the time. I just didn't want my brother walking on the road drunk.
Okay, it has nothing to do with your brother. Stop trying to put other people into the equation and adding them to make them the reason for stuff. You do the things that you want to do.
I made the decision to take him home because I didn't want to see him walking drunk on the road because he lived 25 miles away. I tried to get him to wait and not go yet and let me get a couple hours of sleep, but he was adamant to go because he didn't want to be there alone with my other brother because he doesn't like my other brother, which is his brother too.
You know, this is where you have to look out for yourself. This is an example.
Yeah, I know.
And it goes along too with, now this was a long time ago, right? When this happened, several years ago.
Yeah.
And your brother was the reason for that decision. And now you're being confronted with this issue of these text messages that I'm going to see. And you know that they were wrong, but you did them anyway. And you're saying because it was what my sister wanted and you wanted to make her happy.
When I've got a pattern doing the same thing.
Yeah, the pattern's been there since you were in middle school.
You're the first one that's ever pointed out to me that the pattern's been there since middle school. I've never stopped to think, like the exact pattern of the whole thing.
Okay, so now you know what it is.
Wanting to make other people happy and not being able to say no.
Again, what's underneath that is insecurity and desperation, weakness. Those are all the things that are underneath that. And those are all the things that no one can ever give you. I was talking to one of my really hot friends the other day, and we were talking about relationships. And one of the things we were talking about was that, in a relationship, there's things that are natural that we look for that we can't have with ourselves. So like things like companionship and the fun that you can have with another person and having these incredible conversations, having someone to relate to, someone that you can look to and admire for whatever reason, whether it's their work ethic or how they treat other people. And then with relationships that become romantic, you can have physical attraction, things like that. And those are all some, what I think are some really healthy ways of looking for someone to include into your life. And then you have some unhealthy ways and some unhealthy things that you're looking for that no one else can ever give you. Like your security, your self-esteem, your sense of desirability and how you look. What I've seen in talking to Winnie, and I can predict that it probably has to do with all of your other online relationships that you've had. It's been the same type of a thing that you're trying to make those other things the foundation of your relationship. Make me feel good. Make me feel that I'm important. Make me feel that you want me and no one else, that you're loyal, that you put me first. I am the top person in your life. Are you listening?
Yeah, I'm listening to you.
Okay, good. So when you make all of that someone else's responsibility, you're handing over the power of how you feel. Because there's no one who is ever going to be able to fulfill that for you. And that's where all the fighting comes from. That's where all the anger comes from if she doesn't answer you right away.
You're making a good point, because I never thought about it like that. And that'll...
Okay, so what is the point that I made? I want to know if you really understand what I'm saying.
That I want to be made feel... that I want to be made like a number one, like I feel good. So that I can feel good about me being in a relationship with someone else, so that I feel secure.
Yeah. You're wanting other people to make you feel that way, and they're never going to be able to do that. There's going to be moments, when Wendy says, I love you, in that cute little voice.
Yeah, I know.
You're going to feel good. You're going to feel great at that moment. But that goes away. That's going to fade away. And then you're going to be looking for something else. And then as a matter of fact, what you end up looking for are ways that she's not fulfilling that for you. So, she didn't call me all day. What is she doing? She's not answering. She's not telling me that she loves me. She's not telling me how fabulous I am, or whatever it is that you're needing at the time. And that's where all your anger is going to come from. Why isn't she doing that?
Well, see, no, all of that, I do know that all of that way that I act, when I act like that, it comes from Paula, from when I was out in Washington State, a girl that I was.
It comes from you. It comes from you. It doesn't come from anyone else.
Well, see, that's what I'm trying to tell you, though, is that Paula was the first one that I ever fell in love with. And I was in person with Paula. I was face to face with Paula. We spent a lot of time together, and she had just gotten out of her and her fiance had just broken up. They broke off their engagement, and her and I had spent a lot of time together, and we were working towards being in a relationship. And then she wound up sleeping with someone else.
Okay.
And it hurt me really bad for a long time.
Sure, rejection is always going to hurt.
Yeah. And it wasn't something I was expecting at all.
Okay.
And then that's when, that's when I started having a lot of one-night stands with people. Well, not people, with women. And then when I was 28, and because I had left Washington State and came back to Maine for a year, and then went back out to Washington State for another 2.5 years.
Okay, but what does this have to do with Paula?
I hadn't, because Paula was the first time that I had ever been hurt. I fell in love with her and I gave her all my trust.
But again, you're making it her responsibility for how you feel.
Oh, yeah.
So many people have the same experiences. So many. That I don't think that I can ever meet one person who's never felt some kind of rejection. Everyone's been hurt. Everyone's been betrayed at least once. The fairy tale of meeting one person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with and you're married for like 75 years, that is so rare and special. And the reason for that is because it almost never happens. Most of the time, the reasons why relationships don't work out and stuff like that, especially when people are younger, is because you're still growing, you're still figuring things out. And it's not Paula's responsibility that you feel rejected and that you're still feeling that way. That's not her responsibility.
What I'm still trying to figure out, though, is why am I still letting it affect me?
Because it's rejection. And that is the ultimate betrayal to you. That situation made you feel like shit. Instead of saying, you know what, that really sucked. Like, I wish that it could have worked out with her. Okay, it didn't. So I'm going to move on. And hopefully she's going to be happy. She's going to be happy with whomever she's with. And it just didn't work out. Just because a relationship doesn't work out doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. It's not pleasant. It's not going to be fun to go through.
Trying to figure out all the things I did wrong. And
it's not necessarily just about you and what you did. I mean, you can reflect on that, but try to think about this, though. What year was that when that happened?
It was a long time ago. It sucks because it still bothers me. That was back in 2005.
2005?
No, not even 2005. That was 95.
95.
Yeah.
It's 2018.
Yeah, I know. This long down the road, and I still try to figure it out. That's why I think that's the biggest reason why I started turning to the internet. Because that way I could be close to people and not let them get close to me in person.
So you've never tried to meet up with these people? I mean, you wanted Winnie to move in with you.
Yeah, I did try to meet up with some of them. The first one that I ever tried it with was, actually, that was a girl from California when I was in Washington State. And I drove down there and met her. But we both decided that we didn't think it was going to work out. But then the next one I met was in Pennsylvania. I spent 2.5 years talking to her on the internet and on the phone, and I didn't drink at all that whole time. No,
well, she's lucky.
I stayed, yeah. Yeah, that was when I was the better me. I stayed committed to her. I didn't go on any dates, nothing. And it wasn't until I moved back to Maine to be closer to her so we could see each other that my sister talked to her on the phone, and she only talked to her for like 30 seconds. And then when she handed me the phone back over, she whispered to me that Amanda had been lying to me, that she was lying to me. And after I get off the phone with her, I got on the computer and tried to hack into her email. I'd get her password on the first guess. It was Bono U2 from the group U2.
Mm-hmm.
It was Bono U2 was her password. I saw a letter there from another guy that she had met like 2 months before this happened, and she had slept with him. So a couple of pictures of other guys naked. And then where I got really confused was that her name was the name Leslie being on the letter. I'm like, well, who the hell's Leslie? Because I knew her as Amanda James. Well, I called her and confronted her with everything that I found out. And then she went away from my house and up the hill where her cell phone would come in so that she could talk to me, and she told me everything. said she'd been wanting to tell me for a long time, but didn't know how to tell me.
Mm-hmm.
And it took 6 months before her and I could completely stop talking to each other, because I wasn't sure if I wanted to continue it or not, after being lied to like that.
So all of this stuff was a really long time ago.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so why is it still here?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Well, number one, you don't have any way to cope. You don't have any coping mechanisms that are healthy. And number two, you're not honest about it.
Not honest about what? About the story? That's the story.
Not necessarily. I'm not necessarily talking about details. I'm talking about your reasoning.
But my reasoning for what, though?
A lot of what you're saying when the hard questions come up is I don't know and I don't understand. And that's a lie. Because you do. You don't want to admit it. It's going to be difficult to do that, but you have to. You have to be honest in order to start moving forward. You have to say, it's not Paula's fault. It's not Amanda James's fault. It's not all of these other people that have been involved. It's not their fault either. It's not perverted justice or this Xavier Phillip person. It's not their fault. You're putting yourself into these situations and you're not taking ownership for them. And you're not being honest about your reasons.
But all I've ever wanted was somebody that's going to be honest with me about things, not hide who the person that they are.
So then why are you allowing people who are hiding the people that they are? How are you allowing them into your life then?
So I want to give them a chance to believe them, to show me who they are, who they really are.
So you're
I don't know if I'm wrong in doing that or not.
Well, no, I mean, it's not wrong to want the person that you're talking to be who you're thinking that they are. There's nothing wrong with that. The first clue to you from talking to people online is that they may not be who they are. Amanda James wasn't who she was claiming to be. She has her reasons for that. And any other person that you were talking to from these chat rooms, they have their reasons for not being the people that they're saying that they are, if that's what was happening.
Why the hell do I still fucking... Why does it still bother me so much?
Because you don't have coping, as I said. You're not learning your lessons. You're not being honest about the lessons that are coming out of these experiences. You're not being honest about the reasons that these things are happening to you. You're making it other people because of them that this is happening. It's because I was rejected when I was in 8th grade. It's their problem. They made me feel like shit. So therefore, I don't have self-confidence. So now 40 years later, I'm still upset about that.
I know, isn't that fucked up?
It is.
But my brother Roy still mentions to this day how he used to pick me up and throw me when I was a kid. And I tell him, Roy, it was almost 40 years ago, get over it. And I tell him that, and I don't even get over shit myself.
Well, there's an example.
I don't know how to get over it. How do I get past this shit?
You have to be honest about all of it. All of the ugly stuff you have to be honest about. You have to say, I'm weak. I'm weak when it comes to other people.
I am. I know I am. For me to allow this shit to happen, I've got to be.
Yeah. My life is not the result of other people's actions. It's the result of my own actions.
That's that's something that my therapist was helping me with, though, was seeing the red flags and how to get out of how to be able to say no. And when people do guilt trips, I hate that.
Again, you're making it about other people. And those are the same types of things that Winnie would tell me about you. That you try this really shitty elementary reverse psychology on her as if she's not going to be able to figure that out.
What reverse psychology?
I mean, she would talk about how if she would even mention Dan or another man, that you would completely lose it. But it wasn't even that she would mention it. You would say things like, "Oh, you want to get off the phone because of Dan. You want to talk to Dan." That wasn't even something that she said. And regardless of how she was responding, basically what you were looking for is you were pushing her into answer, "Yes, I want to talk to Dan," so that you could be pissed off about it. So that would be that direction. And then the other direction would be, "No, I want to talk to you," so that you could feel better about yourself.
Controlling.
Very controlling and a very sad attempt at manipulation.
Yeah, I agree, because she pointed it out to me before, and I had to think about things that I was doing.
Okay, so there's a difference between thinking about them and then actually growing from them.
I know.
When are you going to get it together?
I'm going to have to get it together now. People aren't pointing this shit out to me directly so I can see it, like my therapist pointed it out to me. Emma points stuff out to me and I can see stuff.
Okay, but then where does it go? Where does it go after they point it out to you? Does it float out into the air? Because it doesn't sound to me like there's been any kind of growth since the patterns with your relationship started.
How do I get it to sink in? How do I get it? How do I not do it again?
Write it down. Start writing.
Yeah, but I shouldn't have to write it down in order to remember it.
Writing things down helps a lot of people. Journaling is a huge practice that a lot of people use because, as you're writing and you just kind of let things go, it uses a different part of your brain so that it stays with your long-term memory. And it's not just a fleeting thought that you're having. And it doesn't matter how you do it. There's no I should be doing it this way, whether it's you're standing in front of a mirror, saying it to yourself repeatedly through affirmations or whatever, or you're writing it down or typing it if you have a computer, something, whatever, it doesn't matter what it takes. The method is not what's important. The result is what's important.
Maybe you're right. Maybe writing it down would help more. I never thought about being able to stick in, to be grasp better if you write it down.
It's something to try. That's why they have the books, right, that you're working with in your class. It's in writing.
Yeah. Yeah, but I've never had to go into detail about my past relationships with the book.
I think that the details of your past relationships aren't necessarily important. The little things.
I've had to do my sexual history. I've had to go into detail about that. But it's these things that I do, I've never had to write that down. So thinking maybe that's not a bad idea.
What kind of man do you want to be?
I want to be an honest and good man.
What does that mean?
And I want to be caring. I want to do good things for people.
But what does that mean?
It means that I want to do things for other people. I like doing things for other people.
Why?
I don't know. It just
well, no, don't say I don't know.
It makes me happy. It's always made me happy.
And isn't that what gets you into trouble?
Yeah.
It makes you happy
to do things.
Because it makes you comfortable. It makes you happy because they're showing you something that you want to see, whether it's appreciation or, oh, wow, he's going to think I'm a good guy, or she's going to think I'm a good guy because I did this for them.
Yeah. Approval.
It's approval. It's approval addiction. It's a real thing.
It's a hard thing to change.
Just like with everything else, you have to acknowledge it and you have to be honest. You're making it as if you're looking out for other people and you want to make them happy, but you're really just looking out for yourself. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that everyone is selfish in their own way. You know, we do things because it makes us feel good. If we do things for someone else, it makes us feel good. We want to see other people happy and, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but how's it turning out to be such a bad thing for me?
Because you're taking it to the extreme. You're turning it into something bad.
I don't know how to change it without it being something bad.
Well, it starts by recognizing that you're desperate. You're desperate for approval and you're weak.
Yeah, but why am I so desperate for approval? Nobody else is.
What do you mean no one else is?
No, it doesn't seem like anyone else is as desperate for approval as I am.
Well, I would say that through what I know about you, that it's pretty severe. But it doesn't matter what they are experiencing. You're never really going to know that. Some people think that they have an extremely low sense of self-worth, no matter what they project outwardly. So if you see like somebody like a celebrity, like the people who have committed suicide recently, you would look at their lives outwardly and be like, oh my God, they have everything. They have money, they have awesome careers, they have companies, they're making money, and then all of a sudden they're dead because it wasn't enough. But nobody knew that.
No, it's one of the reasons I can't understand why people make such a big deal out of money.
This issue isn't about money. That's not the point. The point is that whatever it is that you think makes a good life, if you are seeing that in someone else, you're just seeing it from the outside.
I don't know what I was saying about the money thing. Money is not a thing that should make people happy. And that was part of my problem because I had gotten used by my family and friends so much because of my money. And that's what made me sell my house for $8,000.
Does this have something to do with Betty? Because she keeps bringing up like Betty and he's going to pay Betty back.
Yeah. That's one of the things to do with Betty. I still got to pay Betty back, and it bothers me because I'd never meant for any of that stuff to happen.
Are we talking about a lot?
So,
what are we talking about?
Yeah, it was a good chunk of money.
Like 500, 1,000?
No, there's more like around 20,000.
Oh.
Yeah.
And when was this?
This was right before I moved to Nashville. That was my last straw being used.
Did your family take that money from Betty?
They took it from me.
Oh, so you took it from Betty and then they took it from you.
Yeah. But I got to pay Betty back because it's my responsibility.
Well, how did you take it from Betty?
I was doing a job for Betty.
And she paid you and the job didn't happen.
Well, the job happened, it started happening.
But it wasn't done. Otherwise you wouldn't owe her anything.
I couldn't get my workers to show up. And it just turned out to be the worst thing ever for me.
Okay, so once again, it's somebody else's problem.
I don't know. That was my responsibility because it was my business. And I'm the one that took on the responsibility. So it's my fault that I allowed all that to happen. That was the lowest point in my life so far, up to that moment. So I don't understand how I could have allowed myself to get in that position.
Because you're desperate.
Yeah, but desperate for what?
For approval.
For approval, I know.
For other people. For acceptance.
Yeah.
Do you ever consider that you're desperate because you're lonely? And you're lonely because of how you treat other people and make your happiness their responsibility?
No, I never thought about it like that.
So not only that, but then you throw alcohol on top of it, and you change into this other person who's pissed off and who's going to yell, who's completely unreasonable and disgusting.
Yeah. No, I never used to be like that when I drank.
Okay, but we're talking about right now.
I know. Well, I'm just saying that because I'm trying to figure out could have changed.
Well, we're kind of going in a circle here. And we did address this before, and we said that it's because you have a lot of anger. And the anger is directed at other people.
Yeah, but why do I have so much anger? Why can't I let it go of it?
Because you're putting your happiness into the hands of other people, and you're making them responsible for it. Make me feel good. Tell me how wonderful I am. Make me feel important. And when they don't do that, you're going to get pissed off and you're going to lash out.
That's a loser way to be.
Yeah. And you've been that loser your entire life. Stop being a loser.
I don't want to be a loser.
Then don't be.
Why does it sound like you actually care?
I care about my sister.
Well, I know. I mean, you're actually... You really don't even know me, and you're taking time out to point things out to me that Emma's pointed out some of them before. My therapist pointed out some of them. There's some of them that you're pointing out that neither one of them have even touched.
And what's the pattern there? The pattern there is that you don't learn shit.
I learned. I think it just maybe I need to take your
No, you
advice
don't
and write it all down.
You don't learn. That's the problem.
Well, I'm not working tomorrow, so I think I'll take some time out to write it down and see what happens on that one.
Be honest. Think about if you had a woman in your life that was there and you treated her that way.
You know, I don't want to be like that either.
But you are. And it sounds like you have been for many years.
I don't want to be controlling and an asshole.
You know what that sounds like? That's like the classic abuser. I don't want to hit you, but you just make me so mad. I don't. Okay, don't take it literal. Don't take it literally. We'll put it into your context then. I don't want to scream at you, but you just make me so mad. I didn't want to drive drunk, but I didn't want to see you walk home. I didn't want to drive to the house, but I'm also not going to admit that I did want to, and that's why I ended up there.
Now, the driving drunk, I really did think I was sober because I didn't have to be here for hours. I mean,
okay, but you weren't. Hours. You weren't.
No, weren't. Yeah, that's the fact of the matter is that I weren't.
I wasn't. No, I weren't.
Yes, I was just thinking about that too.
Okay, good.
No, I'm happy that you intervened.
And I'll continue to do that. Don't think that this changes anything.
I want you to continue to intervene. It's obvious you can help more than just winning. It just gives me a better support group so that I can help me figure out the things that I do wrong and that I don't see.
I think you see them. You're just not admitting it.
I see them. I see them when they're pointed out to me. Because it's criticism that I don't think about.
Well, to be honest, I mean, I'm not here to be your support system.
No, I know you know. Well, there must be something about you that gives a shit.
I care about my sister, and it frustrates the shit out of me that she's been involved with you. It pisses me off. I can't believe she had to listen to your bullshit.
I can't believe I handled that kind of bullshit.
You should believe it. It's not shocking.
The pattern is shocking to me.
What am I going to see when I get these text messages?
What are you going to see?
Is it what I think I'm going to see?
What do you think you're going to see?
A lot of disgusting behavior.
I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. I don't remember everything that was said between us, and sometimes we were really sweet to each other. Sometimes we were upset with each other. if you know how to get to my voicemail, then I'll give you the password to my voicemail, and you can listen to 11 messages that I saved of Winnie's.
No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to hear her cry or be upset or yell. Because then I can't promise what I will say to you. I can't promise that it's going to be anything you want to hear.
I know.
Because I know that if she is crying or if she is yelling or if she's upset about something, her reasons are legit. It's just going to prove even more that I need to protect her.
I save them for a reason. So I listen to them. It makes me think more about how I treat her, and it makes me want to change and just unsure of how to do it.
Is that the reason why you keep them? So you can hear her cry?
Yes, so I can remind myself that I don't want to hear her crying. And there's only two of them. That was where I broke up with her. She had surgery, and Dan was there with her, and she didn't understand why I broke up with her. And I was upset about something that had to do with Dan. I don't remember what the situation was.
So it was like a jealous rage then.
I don't know.
And that's exactly...
I don't know.
That's exactly the shit that she can't be subjected to. She doesn't deserve it.
There are other ones where she's happy, and other ones where she says stuff to me that is negative stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, I save them so I can listen to them, so that I don't know, figure some way to do better. Start trying to figure all this stuff out, how to do better and how to fix myself. When I see the pattern.
You don't see it. That's the thing. You don't see it. You don't see it. You don't see it.
Well, I see it when it's pointed out, and I don't want to forget it.
How many times does it need to be pointed out to you?
But I try to figure it out too. I try to understand, like when my family used me, as, well, what did I really do to deserve to be used like that? I think that's what makes me the most mad, the most upset. And
there's an obvious answer to that. What does somebody do to deserve to be used? And the answer is nothing. And you already know that.
What allow it to happen, though? Everybody says they're trying to be such a good person, and all this shit, and then they turn around and do that to someone else.
Look at yourself and stop looking at other people.
I know.
You can say you know, but you don't, because that's not what you do. It doesn't matter what other people do.
The one part that I don't know and that I don't understand is because it was my family that did it, my siblings. And that's what I don't understand. I mean, these are some people that I idolized ever since I was a kid. I mean, since I was a little kid.
Okay, so your question is trying to see what you did to deserve that?
Yeah.
Nothing. That's what I said, nothing. I can point out things in my own life where people haven't treated me well. What did I do to deserve that? Nothing. What does a kid do to deserve to be treated badly? Nothing.
Yeah, but how can somebody with good knowledge that your youngest brother has idolized you for years and years and years, how can they turn around and use you so fucking badly?
You're asking questions that can't be answered. That's something that your brother would have to answer. And that's something for you to move on from. I understand that it made you feel badly. I think anybody would. Like I said before, everyone's been taken advantage of. Everyone's had to have a sense of rejection. We've been hurt by people before. It happens all the time. We can't control that. But what we can control is when there's behaviors within ourselves that are repeated. And it's causing us our own pain, and we're creating this really negative life. in negative relationships and things that are really unhealthy. There are people who could be walking around saying the very same thing about you. Betty is a perfect example.
Yeah, I know.
What did she do to deserve what you did to her?
I know. I think about Betty a lot.
As you should.
She doesn't. Just thinking about her a lot doesn't get her paid.
No, it doesn't. I'm sure she thinks about you a lot too.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. She's got every right to. It happened.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
One year I spent $700 on my sister for Christmas, for a Christmas present, because she wanted. I brought the guys in that I had worked on for me and spent $700 on her house because she wanted to do her living room over differently. So it's a Christmas present. If you want to give me a Christmas present back, give me macaroni and cheese. Make me macaroni and cheese that she makes. And the same year, I did the same thing for my brother Ralph. I spent $700 in, brought the guys that were working for me up to his house, put insulation around the skirting of his trailer that they were living in, and told them it was a Christmas present. If you want to give me a Christmas present back, have your wife make some deviled eggs that she makes. And my brother Paul, I spent $425 on him, gave him that money to get heating oil. And I told him it's a Christmas present. If you want to give me a Christmas present back, you and your wife can make me some of the meatballs that you make. I never saw the deviled eggs, and I never saw the meatballs, and I never saw the macaroni and cheese until the following year. My sister came down with a pot of macaroni and cheese and asked me for $500 so she could get her Christmas presents. And because of the kids, I gave her $500. I told her to do the same thing, give me macaroni and cheese back for a Christmas present. And I never saw the macaroni and cheese.
Okay, so they didn't want to give you a Christmas present.
Yeah, this is the. They didn't care enough to do a small thing for me for Christmas, so it's more the thought of it. It's disgusting.
No. They didn't want to give you a present. Why is that disgusting?
Yeah. It's disgusting because I did so much for them that they couldn't.
You did it for them.
Enough.
You did it for them
Yeah.
in order to get something.
It's disgusting that they didn't have enough gratitude.
You did it for them in order to get something.
Well, no, what to get deviled eggs, macaroni and cheese, and meatballs.
What that represents. It's not the actual physical thing, but what it represents. Happy. You wanted to make them happy so that it made you happy and so that you would feel important, that they would give you something in return.
Yeah, you're right. You didn't want to make me happy.
In your head, you thought you were entitled to that. And it became their responsibility to make you feel happy, to make you feel important, and that you have self-worth. And just because they didn't give you anything back doesn't mean that you're worthless. It just means they didn't give you anything back.
That's the way it made me feel, though.
Right, because the way that you feel is based on what other people say and do. And once again, you're giving them all of that power.
I would have been better off giving that money to charity.
Why?
It would have went towards something good.
Why doesn't helping your brothers and sisters help do something good?
Well, it does, but...
It's because you didn't get what you wanted from it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That royally fucking sucks that to be like that.
Yeah, it does. I think that everyone is selfish. We do things for our own reasons, but to be on that level, to do something specifically for the fact of getting something in return from those people and having it over them that they owe you anything, to have that power, that's the disgusting thing. That you didn't do it out of the kindness of your heart. You did it so that they owed you something and that they would make you feel important if they gave it back to you.
It's not that I wanted them to owe me something. I think I just wanted to know that they loved me.
That's what those things represented.
But their actions before didn't show me that, and that, I don't know. I did things for the wrong reasons.
Once again, just like with everyone else, they're not responsible for how you feel.
And that's true.
I know that everything I've said to you is just going to be lost.
How do you know that?
It's like bouncing off a rubber wall.
You don't sound so sure.
Well, people have been trying to tell you stuff for a very long time.
Yeah, I'm going to try something different tomorrow, though. I'm going to try taking your advice and writing it down, see if that helps. I've never tried that before.
Okay. And what are you going to do about drinking?
No, I'm quitting.
You're quitting or you quit?
I already quit. I haven't had any beer since the other day.
Yesterday.
Yes, yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't have that many to drink yesterday. I had like 3.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Because what you said to me yesterday was that you had none.
I know.
Yeah.
But by the time I talked to you, there was nothing in my system. It was hours before that I had the 3.
It doesn't matter. It's the fact that you lied and you tried to make me like I was the bad guy.
And I'm sorry for that. I still wasn't sure how to, well, I still couldn't understand because of your voice being so familiar. See, I know you don't know a lot about the things that have happened on the internet with the whole Church of God crap, but it's made me cautious of people.
Well, I don't know what Church of God is or whatever. I just know, I know who you are.
Gay-ass thing all about me.
I know what you did. When I looked up your name on YouTube, it was like, it wasn't your channel that was popping up. It was a lot of other people's channels and a lot of things that they're talking about.
Oh, I know. I know all about all the crap that's on there. I don't pay attention to it because to me those people just have nothing better to do than to pick on other people, so they've got their own problems.
Okay.
But there are some decent people on there. That's where I met Emma. That's how I met. Well, actually, how I met Emma was because Emma had sent me a package in the mail, and that was when I had first gotten out of incarceration, and I was feeling pretty low. And she sent me that package and of stuff, and told me she wanted to be a friend. And I could call her back if I wanted to, or email her. And she put her number on there, and so I wound up calling her back, and her and I became friends. And I didn't know that there was an ulterior motive. And I had gotten a few letters in the mail from people from Korea and Czechoslovakia and the United States. But I didn't understand what any of it was about. And Emma explained to me all about this Church of God crap, and she made it sound like people wanted to have something to do with me, and she had an ulterior motive at the time. But then she wound up getting to know me, and things have turned around after that. There's been a lot of the whole Ramona thing was a thing just so they could record me and put me on the internet. me getting mad, anything and everything. Times when I'd act sweet, times when I'd act mad, anything and everything that they could find or that they could get to put on the internet. I wish they'd just forget me. It's obvious that's not going to happen. I haven't been on that thing for over a year. My YouTube channel, the subscribers on my YouTube channel is still growing. I was like, why? All it is the same old shit. None of it makes sense to me.
Well, I think I can kind of tell you why, from my perspective. Well, I think what's interesting is that I had watched the show the first time around. I remember when it was coming out. And there's something about watching someone get caught red-handed. There's something about that. And what more can you have than someone who is exposing themselves to a child and attempting to commit a crime against a child?
Do bad things.
Do bad things, yeah. Committing a crime against a child.
Yeah.
And so, it's kind of like, oh my gosh, this is crazy that this is happening. I can't believe that there are people who are going to go and do this. And a lot of the people that you would see on the show, you would never imagine, because obviously we don't know them in their personal lives. But there's a lot of people who are very unassuming. You would never know what they're up to. And it kind of raises the question, well, how is it possible that, you can have someone in your life that can have a second life going on as well? That's what everyone was doing. It was all a second life. It was all done in secret. And a child is always going to be a victim. I mean, because that's why we have things in the law that are to protect them. That even if a child is agreeing and saying, yes, I want to have sex, according to the law, they don't have the ability to be able to say yes. So it's always going to be wrong. And it was fascinating to watch. Well, hang on just a second. It was fascinating to watch that, you would have kind of different types of people. And I think the reason why you stand out is because of how deep your conversation went with her. There's plenty of guys where it was just like, we're going to talk about sex and I'm going to come and see you. Very short, to the point. It was very clear what they were looking for. It was very obvious. They show up and boom, there you have it. And then I think what made it interesting for you is that you had a very long conversation with this person. You're talking about getting married, how she is your girlfriend. It kind of is, it's shocking. It's just like, what does that even mean? Oh my gosh.
I know, I was pretty lost at the time.
You can call it lost. A lot of people would call it you were attracted to a child.
I know a lot of people would call it that, but I know that's not what the whole thing was about. It was the attention. Somebody was giving me attention, making me feel good about myself.
What was she doing to make you feel good about yourself?
I don't know, just being there.
Being there to say nothing?
Yeah, pretty much. Just to agree with me about everything. It made me feel like I wasn't doing everything wrong when I was doing everything wrong.
There was actually like this little documentary. They were talking about your case. They were talking about others too, but they were talking about yours. And how quickly it turned. Like you were presenting yourself as being just somebody, like you said, I felt bad for her and I wanted to talk to her. And then all of a sudden, it turns into sex. And you were flirting with her within the first hour.
I know. I've read it over a few times.
Yeah.
I've tried to evaluate myself.
The attraction there is, I think, what is so fascinating to people. And like I said, what did not turn you off about that? Because I know personally, if I was to be on the computer and a kid approached me and said that I'm 13 or I'm 14, 15, 18, somebody who's significantly younger, it just is automatic no.
That's what I should have said right off the bat.
But you didn't want to.
She was 13. Yeah, something about me didn't want to.
You didn't want to because you were attracted to her.
I don't want to admit that. You're right. I don't want to admit it.
You have to.
But what could I have been attracted to, though? That's what I don't get it. I don't understand it.
She turned you on. So you tell me what you were attracted to.
How could she turn me on?
How was it the idea of her? How did that turn you on?
I don't know.
No, you do. You do know. You're the one who spoke to her. You're the one who showed your penis. You're the one who drove to meet her. You're the one who came up with the plan to have this happen. You were the one who came up with the plan to keep it all a secret and how that was going to happen.
I know I hate myself for what I did.
Okay, you hate yourself for what you did. And that's where you're not wanting to admit the reason why, but you know the reason why. You just have to admit it. And then you can figure out what to do from there.
It's obvious that I had bad intentions.
What were those intentions?
All the shit that I said. It's obvious that I had bad intentions. I can't read that chat log anymore. I went through that chat log so many times trying to figure out how the hell I could have said all that stuff. What the hell happened to make me turn around and say all that stuff?
There's the key.
Later, I have a fucking issue with it.
There's the key right there.
I can't
There's
even read
the key right there, Lorne. How could I have done that? What happened to me? What did other people do to make me do that? You're looking outward for the answer, and the answer is in you. That's what you have to admit. Why were you attracted to a 13-year-old girl?
I wonder if she related to somehow of back to my childhood where I got outed for not playing basketball. I wonder if that's got anything to do with it sometimes.
Nope.
Because it feels sometimes that's what we mean. Don't forget you say no fast.
Yeah.
These are thoughts that go through my head.
Because you're searching for other people to be the reason.
Even if I say that I was attracted to a 13-year-old girl, how could I be attracted to her when it's not what I wanted? What made me attracted to her?
Answer those questions. That's a great question. What was it? Is it the thought of having a virgin? Is it the thought of someone who's not developed really yet? You tell me.
I know I don't have them thoughts now.
I'm not saying that you do.
Why did I have any thoughts like that before? It's obvious I must have had those thoughts before.
Yeah.
This is all right in the conversation for the whole world to see.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm scared to even be around the kid now. And it really sucks that my whole life has turned around like it has. I've gone through the shit that I've gone through because
of what you did.
Because of what I did.
Yeah.
But I used to love spending time with kids. Even when I was a kid, I loved spending time with kids. It was just awesome to make a kid happy and see him, see the smile that they get when you get on your hands and knees and let them get on your back and you run around like a horse. Or when you give them a piggyback ride, or when you swing them like they're in a swing set. Or when you take them snowmobiling on a ski. And I used to love doing things for kids, even when I was a little kid myself. Sang Greatest American Hero at my grandparents' 50th wedding anniversary. from a little cousin that I think he was only like 4 or 5, and I was only like 8 or 9. He wanted me to get up on stage and sing "Great American Hero," "Greatest American Hero."
Okay, that's good.
So
I'm glad you were able to do that.
My mom set it up so that I could get up there and do it.
Okay.
So I can make him happy. It blows my mind how my life could turn around.
Well, in order for it to turn right side around, you have to be honest with yourself. It's the only way. And that honesty is not going to be easy.
I admit I did wrong. I know for a fact I did wrong. It was my fault. It couldn't have been anybody else's fault because nobody else drove me there. Nobody else used my fingers to punch words in on the keyboard. Nobody else said the things that I said. Nobody else told me gun to my head to say that stuff.
Right.
So I know that was all me.
Because you wanted to do it all.
Figure out why I would allow myself to do something so terrible.
Because you wanted to.
Did I want to?
Yeah.
That's why I ask myself that question all the time. Did I really want to?
And the answer is yes.
But how could
the
I
answer
really
is going to be yes
every
time.
How could I really have wanted to if I had never wanted to before? What made me want to?
Because the opportunity was there. And it didn't turn you off.
Believe it or not, George isn't at
like the other people in the room.
I must be out.
They're probably like, what the fuck is she doing in here? I'm not talking to her. Ew.
Believe it or not, I'm not home.
And that would be my response too, because I don't have the attraction to a kid. But for you, the opportunity was there. And for a lot of people, I think that kind of have this fantasy. It's a lot easier to have that come through on the internet, because you can say things that you wouldn't really be able to just go up to a 13-year-old and say, because that would be really scary. She could tell someone, and you can get into a lot of trouble immediately. But when you're online, you can sort of test the waters, and you can say things that you fantasize about. And if she gets scared, or she's like, oh my gosh, you're old and bald and a fat ass,
George, are you there?
and she can do that, and it's not going to matter.
I hate that stupid message. I know you're avoiding me. I'm at the office. Please call me.
Oh. Is that a boat?
Sorry, no, that was my phone. Sorry.
Oh. Is your phone dying?
No, I'm on my house phone, so that was my other phone.
Oh. If you want to continue talking, can you call me back in 10 minutes so I can charge my headset up a little bit?
Actually, I'm going to get going. It's time for me to get going.
Okay.
So I hope that you sort of, we talked about a lot of stuff, and I hope that you were able to remember that. Remember it tomorrow. Remember the things that we talked about. Maybe a little bit of advice that I gave you. And one of the most important things is to be the type of man who follows through on his own commitments. So when you say, I'm not going to drink anymore because I want to be a better person, I don't like the person that I become when I drink, then do that. And don't make excuses like, well, I go over to my friend's house and that's what he does. That's kind of what we do. If that's the case, then you need to have new friends. Then you can't go over there. If that's a trigger for you to do that, then you can't do it.
Yeah, I gotta sit down and do some writing.
So while you're doing that writing, I would suggest you work on your vagina drawing, because I saw that one too.
What color I can draw?
Yeah. Yeah, she really loved that.
Pretty bad, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Yeah, there's a lot of open space at the top there where the clit's supposed to be, but that's okay.
Did you see the picture of her that I drew though? Or well, what I thought was her.
Oh, the picture? I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
She asked me to draw a picture of her, and so I took one of the pictures that she sent me that I thought was her, and I drew that.
Oh, that's sweet. Well, anyway, I'm going to get going. So enjoy the rest of your evening. Hope you wake up refreshed, and you're going to be a new person tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Okay.
really sit down and do some writing because I gotta change the way I'm doing things.
Yeah, change everything. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Have a lovely evening.
You too.
Okay, bye.